Good morning, everyone. So we may start it. And good morning, everyone, again. I'd like to thank you very much for your attendance for this event today. Today's event thematic, we are organizing a SolarHub Ignition event for a while. So if you are following up closely our project, you can see every week we are organizing a very informative and introductory events thanks to effort of our team under the SolarHub. So today's topic is about the Horizon Europe funding opportunities and a guide to solar field related energy calls. My name is Çağrı Yıldırım. I am the head of the EU Framework Program Department at the Scientific and Technological Research Council. I am also the Horizon Europe National Coordinator. We have the Odysseas Spreolu, who, as you might know him, he has been working with TÜBİTAK for a longer time, thanks to Turkey in Horizon project. Maybe you are familiar with him. I'm sure you see him in our trainings in different events. So today we are with him, and he's going to give a presentation about the find and prepare for the Horizon Europe opportunities for the roadmap, how you are going to submit a proposal in a successful way. Then after Odysseus, I'm going to cover upcoming solar-related Horizon Europe call projects. Then I will cover also Clean Energy Transition Partnership and the upcoming LAB-C program. I will give some information about it. Unfortunately, Dr. Hanife Tuzcuoğlu is not with us because she is sick. So that's why I'm going to cover this last issue. But anytime you can contact with us and meet me and this Hanife with these domains. So without further giving much information, I can give the word to Odysseus. If it is fine for him, he can start the presentation. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Çağrı. Thank you for your nice words. Yes, we have been collaborating together for many years now, and I hope successfully. So I will start with a presentation which is quite long. Let me share my screen and see if everything works. Do you see what you're supposed to see, the presentation in the presenter mode?
Odysseus, it seems like that a very small corner, a small part of the presentation, it seems like the other part is blank. I don't know why.
Yes, one fourth.
Yes, now it's good. Now it's good.
Now it's
Almost good. Yeah, good. Maybe
okay
Selin,
now?
is it good? Selin, is it good?
Yes,
I think it's
good. Yes, I do see it.
Okay.
It was like 1/3 of the presentation was there.
Yeah. I had to swap screens. It was in the presenter's mode. Okay, great. So this is a very long presentation usually, and we sometimes do it in two parts or in one long part, and you will realize that it is almost 70 slides. I'm not going to talk in detail on every slide, but I will give you a good overview on how to prepare for these collaboration opportunities. And Çağrı later will specify the exact opportunities that we have in front of us. However, we will share this presentation, and hopefully you will find something useful in it. You can use it as a guide whenever you start preparing such a proposal. So just a quick view on who I am. I have a background in engineering, information technology, and financials, and I've been working in European funds and research and innovation for more than 23 years in quite a few countries, Turkey being one of the most important in my career. And lately, I specialize in innovation management, in digital transformation, and of course, in business processes. So let's start with our subject. For many of you, this may be the first time in EU funding. So you need to remember that there are a few key facts on that. First of all, most opportunities in EU funding require collaboration, which means that you need to set up a consortium. You need to get together with others like you or other institutions, other companies that have a complementary knowledge or capability that you have. In most of the cases, you will need experience in EU funding to win EU funding, meaning that the Commission, the reviewers will look for references, will look for what you have done in the past. So this is why you need to find a consortium, or you need to set up a consortium with at least some of the partners with references and with experience in handling EU funds. You cannot do it alone, and you have to walk before you learn to run, as we say. So in today's presentation, we will cover how to identify and evaluate the best opportunities for you, how to mature your ideas into a concept that makes sense, because we have to distinguish this. It's another thing to have an idea and a very different thing to formulate that into a solid concept. Then we will talk about how to create a balanced project in terms of cost, quality, and time, how to build your team, and we'll talk a little bit about the components of a good proposal and what you need to take care of and what you need to be careful of. Whenever you start reviewing opportunities, especially collaboration opportunities, one question comes to mind, and this is the first question that you need to answer. Should you be a coordinator or a participant? In your case, since you are relatively small entities, startups, just starting in this sector, then the obvious choice is being a participant. But even later, as you win some references and you win some projects, maybe you will get tempted to become a coordinator. Being a coordinator in a collaborative project requires experience. It requires a lot more resources. It requires the ability to manage the whole project, not just the project tasks that you are responsible of. And you need to have a clear strategy on every aspect of the project, on every component. And of course, you need an excellent knowledge of the framework programs of Horizon Europe and every other opportunity that there is and you plan to apply for, and a strong network of partners. On the other hand, you can be a participant. Experience can be acquired. So by participating in a proposal and hopefully in a project, you will learn how to do the work. You will need much less resources than being a coordinator. And you will only be responsible for your own organization. So you only need a strategy for you, your institution, your company. And of course, it helps if you have some knowledge of Horizon Europe and the framework programs, but this is not necessary. You can acquire this knowledge as you proceed. So we talked about a roadmap. This is a roadmap. It's a strategy regardless of your role. You will see that I have in every slide 2 icons here at the top, CO and PA. CO is a coordinator and the PA is a partner. Every slide has these icons on top of it, and the icon can be blue or gray, depending on how important is the role for that particular step and who should initiate it. So in building a roadmap for your participation is a 12-step process. This is not something that you will read in books or in guides. This is something that I developed through my experience in participating, but you can find many other similar processes. And it applies both to coordinators and participants, of course, with variations. So the first step is to understand the problem, know what you need to solve. Then you need to create a profile, get together a team, find a consortium, prepare a concept, identify some opportunities, then find your place in a consortium, help prepare a proposal, and of course, finalize, submit, and follow up later on. So a little overview of where we are now in terms of Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe, as you may know, started 2021 and will finish in 2027. We have two, let's say, phases of Horizon Europe, the first half and the second half. And the first half is 21-24 with a strategic plan. At the end of this strategic plan, we have a strategic plan analysis, and then we have a new plan. This coincides with the change in the Commission. So till now, we had, of course, von der Leyen Commission. We had elections in the summer. Von der Leyen will be again the commissioner, but the people that will be in the agencies and in the independent sectors and in general directorates will change. And along with them, the priorities will slightly change. We still have a Green Deal and environmental protection as one of the highest priorities, but we now have defense as a very important priority for Europe. And strategic plans, we now have the plan for 25-27, become more practical into work programs. So in strategic plans, you will find only directions. It's a good document to read. It's quite long, but you will find where to focus on in your specific sector, and it's good to have at least a quick reading of it. However, the actual calls are included in the work programs, and at the moment we have a work 25, and we expect a work program for 26-27. And these work programs materialize into projects. So this is an overview of the pillars of Horizon Europe. I don't want to make this a presentation about Horizon Europe. There are plenty of presentations about that. You can, it's very easy to find. But given our topic in solar energy and in renewables, I would say that the key areas where we need to focus is cluster 5, which is a cluster dedicated to climate, energy, and mobility. And this is where you will find all the relevant calls. But there are plenty of opportunities in widening. And this is because both Turkey and Greece are considered widening countries. And we can benefit from that. And widening countries are the countries that are fall a little bit below in the innovation scorecard. So we are considered emerging innovators and not strong innovators. Of course, there are always opportunities in European Innovation Council or in EIC with EIC Accelerator and Pathfinder, or in European Innovation Ecosystems here, or maybe in Marie Skłodowska-Curie. But these are bottom-up opportunities, so they are not sector-specific. They are open almost to every sector. So you will need to build a proposal from the bottom. These are the 3 priorities. So to understand the problem, you need to understand where we are, and these are the 3 priorities for the next European Commission. As you see, the green transition remains, but we now have digital transition as well. That was also part of previous priorities. A more resilient, competitive, inclusive, and democratic Europe is also one of the top priorities. And cluster 5 specializes in these 6 points. And you can see, for instance, that we have here energy in buildings, sustainable transport modes, we have climate neutral mobility, we have decarbonized energy supply. Within cluster 5, you will find most of the relevant opportunities in solar energy. So the first task that you have to do is you have to understand the problem. And now that you know the structure of Horizon Europe and you know where we stand, you will have to read the work program of 2025, not the whole work program, but only for the climate, energy, and climate, energy, mobility. And you will have to, you don't have to read the full document, of course, but you do have to read the contents and find the calls that are more relevant to you. These are the calls that Chari will later present to you. But maybe there are other that you feel that you have something to offer. So it's a good practice to start with the work program of 2025 now. We have it. It's not official yet, but it is leaked in the internet. You can find it. We will share it with you. And you can go through the contents and see from the title of every call if there is something for you in it. So this is the first step, understand the challenges. And through the challenges that you read, start thinking any idea, any service, any product that could contribute to the solution. The second step, or maybe could be the first step, so it's not exactly something that you need to wait for to start, is to create a research and innovation profile. And this is important because you will need to promote whatever you are doing to others in order to find consortia and find partners. So you need to explain what you're doing well, what separates you from competition, what are your strong assets, what you can offer that others cannot. So you need to promote the strengths and the opportunities that you have in your entity and the opportunities for others to collaborate with you. Of course, you downplay your weaknesses and any threats. And creating an R&I profile is not something difficult. There's a standard, there are standard things that you need to describe. First of all, you need to have you need to register to the funding and tender portal. We have presentations for that. We have some material that can help you do that, but it's fairly easy. So you go to the funding and tender portal and you just create a profile there. So you need to give a short description of what you're doing. And then based on your interests, you need to describe the activities or the capacity that you bring with you and you can offer to the consortium. If there is a certain call that you are pursuing, if there is a certain opportunity, then you can be quite more specific and describe the activities or the competencies that you bring or your main role in the project. And of course, you need to mention your team, the key personnel, and if you have any publications, any products, any achievements so far. You need to have kind of an elevator pitch. And this is important because this is something that you are going to need when you approach others. LinkedIn is a wonderful tool. I have used it over the years to find partners, to build consortia, to find customers. But you need a short introduction. So whether you use LinkedIn or a cold email, or whether you are introduced to somebody through someone else, then you need to give a short intro about who you are and what you're doing. So this is an example of a short, let's say, elevator pitch. I'm sure that if you ask ChatGPT and Gemini and all these tools, will provide something for you, as long as you describe the key points that you would like to point out. But be careful, because this AI generative tools often overdo it, and they become verbose. They tend to pump things up and present something that may sound pompous. So if you have, if you're talking about a startup, as most of you are already, then you probably have a solution or a technology stack or a productivity stack, and this is a set of solutions, of tools, a platform, the infrastructure that you have and you can offer. So you may have, for instance, an application. If you don't have an application, you may have a process, you may have a methodology, you may use some tools. So this is nothing more than a presentation, a few slides where you present what you can offer in a proposal. You may have a lab, for instance. You may have already some customers that you could use for a pilot case. So this is something also that will strengthen your case. So as a checklist, you must have a PIC number, a personal identification. You need to have such a profile as we discussed. If you need the technology stack, you need to have one as well. You may not need it. And you need to be familiar with all the tools, the funding and tender portal in particular. The third step is to create a team. You may already have it since you are a company or a research team, but if some profiles are missing, make sure that you find these profiles and make sure that you have support on this process, and make sure that if you start pursuing collaborative opportunities, you have a commitment to proceed with that. You cannot start and then say in the middle of the consortium, now we change our mind. And you need people that have a good technical understanding, have a good level of English. They can think through detail and spot problems, and they are fairly creative and have imagination and ability to see all these opportunities. Even better if the team is interdisciplinary. So it's not good if you have, let's say, 5 engineers and nobody from social sciences or nobody from marketing or nobody from financials. You need to have an interdisciplinary team that can prove that you are able to support all the aspects of such a project. And now let's go to the more practical stuff on how to identify opportunities, how to find the calls that are relevant to you. When I started, I showed you the work programs and the strategic plan and the strategic analysis. So you start by the work programs. And you start by the work programs because they are a single document. Every work program is a single document for a cluster. And you scan these documents and you see the calls that are interest you. Once you have done that, then it's good to study the proposal template, see what you need to write for a proposal. The proposal template is standard. It's standardized, so it's nothing different between the different clusters. So the whole horizon has a single proposal template. There are some changes between different programs, but these are only minor changes. There may be different proposal templates in other funding opportunities, like EIC Accelerator, for instance. We have a different proposal template. But in general, we have one proposal template. It's good to have a process. So in the funding and tender portal, you will find a lot of calls that may be of interest to you. You need to write them down. You need to create a short list and collect all relevant material about them, because this is something that you need to follow. It's not just one proposal, especially since you are you intend to be partners in a consortium. Then we need a short list of every call that is of interest to you, because this will help you find the best consortium. And what should you look in every call? First of all, you need to check the eligibility. Are you eligible? Can you participate in this call? Greece and Turkey is as an associated country, is a member state. All these countries are eligible for all Horizon Europe opportunities, but maybe there are some restrictions. For instance, you cannot have a consortium with less than 3 partners from the 3 different member states or associated countries. So you need to see these restrictions and make sure that you can participate in this call. Then you need to think if this particular call is good for you. So is it a call, is it a topic that supports your development? Is it a call that falls under your interests, under your strategic goals? Is it worth it? Is it something that if you decide to participate, you may have to devote quite a few hours in its preparation. So you may need to commit, let's say, something like 100 hours in the next 3 or 4 months. Is it something that you can do? Is it worth the effort? And of course, most probably you will need partners. So you need to have a network. Once you have reviewed the eligibility, then you can go to relevance. So, okay, yes, it is interesting for you. It is within your strategic goals, but do you have a solution? Do you have something that will contribute to the challenge of the call? And you will see later on, and in the next presentation of Chari, that now the calls are pretty explicit in what they require. They make very certain cases. They give you a problem. They don't just wait from applicants, as that was often the case in the past, to describe a potential problem and then a solution. Now they give you a problem. So you need to have something to contribute to the solution of that problem. And finally, you need to check the capacity. Can you write? Even if you are a partner, can you contribute? Are you able to contribute the components that are needed? Are you able to co-fund? In some cases, funding is not 100%, it's 75%. So in that case, you will have to contribute the rest of the fund, the rest of the budget. That doesn't mean that you have to that you need to have cash in hand, but you will need to be able to fund, let's say, the personnel that will work or to co-fund the personnel that will work on that project. So once all these criteria are checked and you have made your mind, then let's see what you can do. As I said earlier, you need to have a short list of proposals, of calls. So this is an example. I went through the work program of 2025. These are the call titles. And this is the capability that I have and is relevant to each one of these calls. Okay, so you read the calls, you find the call that is more interesting for you, and then you try to understand what is needed by the call. And you write a few sentences, a few lines to describe what you as an entity, as a company, as a startup can offer that will be needed in that call. You do not need to respond to every single challenge of the call, but you do need to respond in an explicit manner. So you need to be able to say, okay, this challenge, this problem that the call describes, I can solve it. I can provide a component that is crucial to the solution. So how do you identify opportunities? As I said, you read the work program or you go to the funding and tender portal. The funding and tender portal does not have future proposals that are not announced yet. But these can be found in the work program document. So you will not be able to find at the moment all the calls there that we will present today, but you will be able to find the calls that are already open for submission. And this is one of them. And it is very important to understand the budget. This will help you to make up your mind. Is this proposal worth it? How will be the potential competition in that call? And to answer these questions, we need to know the total budget for that particular call and the expected contribution per project. So you see here, this is a screenshot from the funding and tender portal. The total budget for that call is 8 million. Single stage opened on September. It will close on February the 4th, 2025. And every project is expected to have a budget of around 2 million. That means that 4 projects will be funded. So it's a fairly good chance. If you see that only 1 project will be funded, then you can expect very strong competition. So now that you have the opportunity, you have the call, you start understanding the call, and you start to see exactly what you have to offer in that call. You need to take a few steps to prepare a concept note. And a concept note is basically the description of what you plan to do in that particular call. And there are maybe 5 steps because at the end of the day, you need to describe what you are going to deliver. So the outputs of the call, the outputs of the proposal, the deliverables. So to do that, you need to start with the challenge of the call and match that with your own concept. Then to see the strategic objectives, the call will refer to strategic objectives from the strategy document, from the strategic plan, but they will also be repeated in the call text. And in there, you will find the specific challenges So these will be mapped against specific call requirements. And of course, in order to implement every call, you need to break down the work in what we call work packages. And in every work package, you will assign some resources, you will assign some time, some costs, and these will lead to deliverables. Now, for the moment, we are at the concept stage. So at the concept stage, you need to know the call and have a generic idea of what you're going to do and how you're going to address the challenge of the call. And these are the questions that you need to ask. What is the problem? Who has the problem? Who may be the user? Who may be the customer? Where does the problem occur? When does it occur? And what does the problem impact? Does it impact the environment? Does it impact process, the industry, a specific sector, people, what? As you start working on this concept, you need to have a name. So this is the hope to achieve something, and it is long-term, it is strategic, generic outcome. It's not easily quantifiable. When you say, I want to improve the environment, it's not something that you can measure. However, this has to be more quantifiable in the objectives. So you say, okay, there is a challenge, and I would like to improve, let's say, performance of renewable energy solutions. And to do that, I will deal with PVs, and I will work on a better method to absorb more sun in a current PV structure. So this is more quantifiable. Okay, so once you've reached this point, then you can say, okay, I will improve it, let's say 10%, 20%, 30%. And this is something that you can measure. It is tangible. And this is how and where you will find your answers in terms of priorities and in terms of impact. So a strategic plan includes the EU policy priorities, the impact areas, and the expected impacts. These are given in the call, though, so you don't have to go back to all these documents, but they are given in the call. So in a call text, you will see the expected impacts, or even if you don't see them there, you will find them in the work program. Remember that your concept needs to be smart, so it needs to be specific. What, how, who, from whom. It needs to be measurable, so quantifiable. It needs to be realistic, so we cannot overpromise. It needs to be very relevant, so it has to make sense, and you need to consider time. Is time enough for you to build it? So if we want to see an example of a concept, so this is one. For a call that is open now, the call has a deadline of on February. It is under cluster 5. It is the work program of 2025, 2024, and it is market uptake measures of renewable energy systems. So how to improve the market uptake of renewable energy. And this is the title of the call. The call is a coordination and support actions. We have different kinds of actions. Usually you can identify by the name. We have research and innovation actions, we have innovation actions, and we have coordination and support actions. In research and innovation actions, we are doing more pure basic research, so lower TRLs. In innovation actions, we have higher TRLs, and we are closer to the market. And in coordination and support actions, we try to support this kind of innovation and expand and exploit the results of our research. So the scope and the expected outcomes come from the call text. This is something that you can find from the call text. So this is this kind of a description of the challenge. The scope, be advised that it's not just that. If you go to the call text in the funding and tender portal, you will find that it's a lot more, but I just copy and paste that one to give you an idea. So based on that, this is what we call a concept. And in the concept notes, you need to describe the problem that you're trying to address. This is already defined by the call. And think about the European approach in that problem. So we need to always keep in mind that we try to solve a problem in Europe, not only in European Union, but in Europe. Is the solution already available? And why should we invest now? And why should it be you that should work on this solution? And of course, then we describe the solution, the outcomes, the expected results, and very importantly, we describe who is going to use these results. So who will be the customer, who will be the user. This is an example of a potential project. Bear in mind that this is very generic. It is just for you to understand how to write a concept note. So in the process of Horizon Europe, or in the process of collaborative projects rather, it is usually the coordinator who will write such a concept note, and then the coordinator will set up the consortium and will try to find the rest of the partners. However, if you have a concrete idea of a call, then you can start writing a concept note, or you can apply the concept note to the specific capacity that you have, or to the specific knowledge and value that your entity brings. So you will describe the problem and you say, okay, we cannot solve everything, but for that particular challenge, we have a solution, and this is the objective, this is our background, and this is the methodology and the expected outcomes for, let's say, that particular component that is needed. The next step is building a consortium. So in here, we have to decide what kind of partners we are looking for, and they need to be, of course, successful, they need to be experienced, they need to work in the same area of interest, but they also need to be complementary to us. And the best way, of course, to build a consortium is to find partners and expand your networks, is through your academic contacts, through your network, but you need to expand it. So you can look at Cordis, you can look in LinkedIn groups, in Horizon Results platforms for entities, for institutions, for companies that do something similar or complementary to what you're doing. So since you will be promoting yourself and you will ask others to join you in an idea or in a concept or in a proposal, then you should make sure that you are also well positioned to accept that. So you need to have an organization website or a startup website. You need to have a profile in LinkedIn. You need to have the research and innovation profile, as I described earlier, if necessary, a technology stack, and you need to have the key members of the team in LinkedIn. This is important because these are all public information, and this is something that a potential that a partner or a coordinator who would like to include you in a project will look. So they will look into your organization, into your website. They will look into your profile. So this piece of information need to be updated. They need to be well designed. They need to be thoughtful. As you did with promoting yourself, the same thing we have to do when we are building a consortium, and this is how you should pitch your concept. If you were a coordinator, if you have a complete idea and you would like to find other partners, this is an example. And this is an example of how to do it as a partner. You see here that the key building is we are building a consortium. So I attach a concept note and we are looking for. Whereas in here, I took the liberty of contacting you because you are working on some ideas that we like. And we have another idea. And in addition, we can also bring this and this and this. So we have some added value to contribute. And once you find your place in a potential consortium, then you need to sell your organization. You need to convince the consortium to accept you. So how do you do that? You need to promote your competencies, your capabilities, your knowledge. You need to show that you have some value, not necessarily technical, but any kind of value that's valuable to the consortium. And you can also bring your network. You may have some clients, you may have some customers, you may have some contacts which you could also bring to the consortium, or you could use for a pilot case or whatever. Hopefully, you will be accepted in such a consortium. Once accepted, then you will start working on a proposal preparation. So in that case, you need to contribute. You need to be a valuable member of the team. You need to convince the consortium that they've done well, that they included you. So you need to contribute as much as you can and know what you can do and want to do, because there will be many tasks for which you can take responsibility, or which you can refuse. You can say, no, we would like to do that, but unfortunately we don't have the capacity to do that, or we don't have experience enough to do that. And of course, you need to estimate the costs, the resources that you will need, and we work in person months. Now, this is something that I particularly like, and it's the principle of good project management. Take a look at it. You cannot do both good, fast, and cheap at the same time. Okay, if it's good and cheap, it won't be fast, and you can read the rest. So remember that there is nothing as good, fast, and cheap. It is something that you can you always have to compensate for. And this is, of course, the pyramid of a project management. So we have time, we have cost and scope, and we have quality. We have our expectation. So whenever you change any side of this triangle, then you will realize that the other side changes as well, and this is not always. This is actually, it's never to the benefit of the project. So at the proposal preparation stage, we have completed the concept stage with challenge and strategic objectives. Then we need to dig more into specific challenges in the work packages and deliverables. I'm not going to be very detailed here because I fear that I'm already over my time, but I will go quickly through that. You need to start from the objectives and make sure that you know what you are doing in order to achieve certain goals. When you are thinking about work, you always need to think how this work is being organized, how is it going to be reported, how is it going to be verified. So this is why we need a work breakdown structure. So you split the work in smaller work packages, and you split every work package in smaller tasks, and every task can lead to a deliverable. So a deliverable is something tangible. It's a report, it's a prototype, it's a survey, it's results. And there are plenty of tools that you can work to plan that out, and you will need to visualize them in the proposal. We use PERT charts, we use Gantt charts. I'm not going to talk more about them, but this is an example of the critical path. I'm sure that you will find it useful. And of course, at the end of the day, we need to have clear deliverables. These are the types of deliverables that we have, and these are the dissemination level of deliverables. So who has access to these deliverables? You will find that milestones are also something that is always being discussed. So you need to have a control point. It helps you in the process. Make sure that by then we will have finished that. And of course, you need to be able to identify some risks. There are always risks. You need to identify, you need to be able to anticipate them and suggest some mitigation process. These slides go into more detail on the specifics of the proposal, so you can always take a better look at that, about proposal preparation, and finally the budget negotiation, which I'm not going to talk more. I will wrap it up by saying that writing a proposal, it's an iterative process. So you don't just write it and that's it. You write it, you review it, you write it again, you correct it, you discuss it again, something else happens, you write it again, and then you submit it. And it is very important to remember that you cannot do that in just 1 month. You need to have time to mature a proposal. So start early, start discussing the options, start building your consortia, start working with your partners to develop a good, solid concept. And once you have that and you have the consortium in place, then it will take you much less time to write a good proposal. Remember that from the call deadline till you sign a grant, we usually look into 8 months. So it's a long process. And even between call deadline and the time that you will learn that your proposal is successful or unsuccessful, it may need 5 months. So it is a process that you need to be prepared for. So you can't expect any result earlier. I think this is the last slide, or before the last. So I want to wrap it up now. You need to respond to the call's challenges. You need to be ambitious but realist. You need to have a clear methodology, interdisciplinary expertise, and quantifiable justifications, and a clear planning. So that was a roadmap to participation in Horizon Europe proposals. There are some slides that I didn't elaborate, but you will be able to see the presentation and the notes, and we have plenty of materials that can help you understand the things that I didn't dig in. I am sure that the next presentations by Tsari will be complementary to what I have presented here, and you will be able to identify exactly the ways that you can start working in collaborative proposals. So that's it from my side. I'm open to questions. I'm happy to respond. I don't know if there are any questions.
Odysseus, it seems not on the chat, but if anyone has a quick questions, they can raise a hand. We can give a word. So that
they can write it in the Q&A or in the chat, and we will respond there.
Okay, maybe I can start it later on. We can receive the questions. Thank you very much, Odysseus, for the comprehensive presentation. The project cycle is not easy thing, so that's why the presentations are not cannot be you cannot make it very shortly. So that's why, especially the Horizon Europe one is the very difficult one, and that's why thank you very much for this presentation. I think it's very useful. So by building upon this presentation, I will give the information about the upcoming calls where they can use those suggestions or tips and everything. They can apply this cycle on this upcoming call topics. Let me share the presentation now. Let's see. I hope you can see it. If there is a problem with the screen, please let me know. So I am starting. In the beginning, I explain it. My name is Çağrı. I am the Horizon Europe National Coordinator of Türkiye. I am working at the Scientific and Technological Research Council. Although most of the participants are Turkish, and I am going to give short information about the TÜBİTAK. TÜBİTAK is the funding agency of Turkey. We are the leading funding agency for the R&D projects. But we have also 5 main missions, not only funding, but TÜBİTAK is the scientific and technological innovation, human resource development, giving the support in this area, especially for the mobility of the researchers PhD level, or we are also giving the fund for the master degree level of students, etc. Extensive programs, we have it. We give the support. We organize the science and society activities, Technofest, and other, science museums, etc. We touch upon this area as well. We also, TÜBİTAK is the, R&D, application centers. We have R&D research institutes, more than 20 institutes in Turkey, not only in Istanbul, but also in Ankara, Bursa, Erzurum, etc. And we have more than 6,000 researchers in TÜBİTAK. So, but what I am representing, I am from the Department of the International Cooperation of Department. TÜBİTAK is doing the science diplomacy of Turkey as well with the different programs. So as you can see, International Cooperation Department has 2 divisions. One division is about the bilateral, multilateral relations department, which deals with the bilateral cooperation. For example, Turkey, Greek coal program, or Germany, Turkey coal programs, or other kind of memorandum of understandings are signed with the different countries. I am from the Department of the EU framework programs. Our main role is the coordination of the framework programs, which is called now as the Horizon Europe. And as you know, Turkey has been part of this framework program since 2002, with officially TÜBİTAK has been given as the national coordination office status to help the Turkish researchers from Turkey. in 2002, the program was called as EP6. Now it's called as Horizon Europe. In 2000, in the former program in Horizon 2020, Turkish researchers were very quite successful, and they received more than funded projects around 958 projects, and we received more than 300 million euro from European Commission to fund these projects. So right now in Turkey, we involved in the Horizon Europe, and the success rate has been increasing with the strong participation of the Turkish researchers. So after giving short introduction about the TÜBİTAK role, Odyssey has mentioned about the Horizon Europe program. It's composed of 3 pillars. Today we are going to discuss about, I'm going to give information about the core topics under the climate, energy, mobility cluster. So what is the cluster 5? The main aim is the contribution to transition and green and digital. And also it aims to contribute to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the EU policy priorities. The program, this cluster, for 7 years, it has dedicated budget around 15 billion euro, and the program and the core programs are published under the work program, which has 6 destinations. I will give information. Most of the call topics are single stage, which means that there is only one cutoff date for each call. But under the climate area, there are 2 stage calls. So under this program, there are also 2 relevant visions and 13 Horizon Europe partnerships. So you can see this is a big cluster. There are 9 intervention areas, which means that those topics are supported under this program. Energy storage, climate science, and solutions. Today, we are only going to focus on the solar area call topics, so which is under the area of the energy supply. So, but you can see there are also other areas which you can get more information about it from our website or Commission website. So let me go into the detail about the policy level. Odyssey has mentioned that, before starting writing a proposal or involving in any consortium, it's always not essential to know that what are the European Union policies, because all those topics which is stated under the work program, actually they aim to help the European Union policies. So that's why in order to understand the nature of these calls, you need to know some information about the policy level, what the European Union priorities. For example, Green Deal. As you know, in 2019, European Commission published the Green Deal priorities, which means that until the 2050, European Union aims to be carbon-free continent. So, and there are priorities under that. And other 5 priority policy areas: Digital Europe, developing economy that works for people, Europe fit for digital age, stronger Europe in the world, and new push for the European democracy. In relevant under those main policy documents, there are also subdomain documents for each thematic areas. Under the climate action, you can see 2030 climate target plans. Under the energy, you can see the EU strategy for energy system, hydrogen strategy. So there are lots of policy documents relevant for which try to aim to reach the goals of the European Union. So under the cluster 5, there is a work program. When you open the work program, actually it's around 500 documents, but here there are 6 destinations. If you know which areas you are interested in, it's very easy to find the topics relevant for you. Under the 6 destinations, there are the call topics, and those are the program for 2-year program. So today I'm going to give information about the 2024 call topics, which is the last topic for the 2024. Right now, in 2025, there will be new program, new topics, and this work program, it's gonna be published in March 2025. So under this cluster, there are two missions: climate neutral and smart cities mission, adaptation to climate change, including the social transformation, and there are also relevant partnerships. Today, I'm not going to give this detailed information about the missions and the partnerships, but later on, if you have a question, please do not hesitate to contact with us to have information about these opportunities as well. As you can see, destinations have different objectives. Today, we are going to focus on the destination 3, sustainable, secure, competitive energy supply, which aims to target a sustainable, secure, competitive energy supply such as renewable energy, energy system, grids and storage, and carbon capture, storage, and usage. So, let me go into the more details about the destinations. As you can see, under destination 1 for climate, there is only climate science and transition to climate neutral. For the destination 2, 3, and 4, there are cross-cutting areas, but relevant with the solar topics, renewable energy is one area where you can see the relevant call topics. Let me start with the first call topic, which has the deadline for the February 2025. First call topic is about the thermal energy area, the digital tools for the concentrated solar power and solar thermal plants. So first of all, let me try to, there are some call identification numbers. Sometimes it's complicated for everyone to keep in mind. But let me give me the information. All those call topics are, easily reachable under the funding and tender webpage. And in order to find the relevant call topics, you can easily identify the call topics with these numeric numbers. For example, Horizon is stated for the Horizon Europe, CL5 stated for the Cluster 5, 2024 is the year of the work program, and destination D3 is destination 3, and the 2 is stated as the second call topic year and the first call. So this is the understanding of how you can read all those call topics. So let me tell you about this topic. It's about the innovative application of the digital tools for both CSP, concentrated solar power, and solar thermal heat and or cold. Any type of application of the digital tools is under this scope: component control, performance measurement, self-diagnostic, ancillary services to power system, digital twins, etc. Artificial intelligence techniques also is under this scope. Measurable benefits of the proposed digital tools in terms of operation, maintenance, flexibility of the plant are expected from the proposals. Where it's applicable, digital tools should support night-based load generation from thermal energy storage, and demonstrations should span a continuous interval for at least 6 months, covering all possible incidence angles of the direct solar radiation. So expected outcomes from this call is the project needs to show that improvement of the performance and the reduction of the operation and the maintenance cost for both application, CSP plants and also for the solar thermal heat. And it needs to reinforce the role of the CSP plants in the power market. By the way, I need to tell you that if you plan to apply this project, you need to identify which one you are going to focus, CSP or solar thermal. So if you choose the CSP, you need to focus on the expected outcomes for the CSP ones. If you focus on the thermal ones, you need to choose for the thermal outcomes. So that's why I want to just give the underline about that. So your proposal needs to show the reduction of the greenhouse gas emissions. Also, it needs to prove that achievement of the CSP targets under the Strategic Energy Technology Plan. What is the Strategic Energy Technology Plan? Strategic Energy Technology Plan is actually an initiative by the European Commission with the attendance of the relevant countries. They give the prioritization or decides the objectives or priority cooperation areas for the energy domains. So when if you're gonna write the set plan on the Google, you will see all the details about the set plan. And under the set plan, there are priority topics. One of them CSP. You can see the CSP priority areas under this program easily. So the type of action for this program, for this call, is innovation action, which means that you need to show demonstration of the projects. If you are aware of the technology readiness level, it's a just numerical from 1 to 9. It needs to show market demonstration of these products. So which means that if you are a non-profit organization, 100% will be covered by the European Commission. But if you're a profit organization, 70% of your cost will be covered. The rest of it's expected to be covered by your company. So the EU contribution per project is 3, and total budget for the call is 6, which means that only 2 projects will be supported. And you can see under this, here there is information that there will be 2 actually ranking lists, one for the CSP, one for the thermal plants. If you apply for the CSP, you are just going to compete for the CSP ones. If you have a project for the thermal plants, you are going to compete with the thermal project ones. So there will be 2 different ranking lists. The call deadline is 4th of February. The call, the call is about the lump sum, which means that, different financial model is applied. So it's a easiest one and a very preferable for the researchers. You don't need to report everything when you spend the money for these specific projects. If you have questions for the lump sum model, we on our project website, Horizon Europe website, you can find the details about the lump sum applications. The second call is about the PV integrated electricity mobility applications. This is the specific topic for the demonstration of the vehicle integrated PV concepts. This is very novel areas, as you know, and it aims to proposals needs to include the various cell interconnection and encapsulation techniques, or the proposal needs to consider the cost optimization and environmental friendliness of the YPV techniques. And it needs to consider also vehicle usage model maximizing the ratio of the using solar power, performance of the VIPV, and it needs to involve the multidisciplinary consortia, including at least one vehicle manufacturer. So this is the consortium. Yeah, this is very important point where I need to inform you that if you are involved in a consortium or building a consortium, definitely you need to find a company, a car manufacturer. Let me give you example from Turkey, Ford Otosan, or I don't know, TOG, for example. They need to be involved. They need to give the permission to use this application in their cars, for example. This is the kind of expectation from the call. And the proposal also needs to demonstrate PV charging stations, for example, electric vehicles, electric buses, etc., able to provide significant part of the charging demand. So expected outcomes of this call, open new market opportunities for the VIPV in road transport. It needs to show that reduce the usage of the electricity grid and increase the range of the electric vehicle. And it needs to show that contribution of the cost, energy efficient, climate neutral road transport. So this is again the innovation action, and it expected the project needs to convince all the proposal readers that it needs to expected to end with the TRL 6 and 7. Per project, the financial contribution by the Commission is 7 million euro, and the total budget is 14 million euro. Again, the Commission is going to, fund at least 2 projects, at most 2 projects for this call. And the call deadline is still the same, 4th of February. So the third call, this is one of the most actually attractive one. Actually, why I am saying the attractive one, we receive lots of questions about this call. And we know that several consortiums already keep going on right now. It's about the innovative community integrated PV systems. The call has a SSH flag, which means that social scientists in the consortiums is expected, especially. The proposal needs to demonstrate a community aggregated system with portfolio of producers and the users. It needs to address the overcoming energy poverty, support energy democracy, and expand the cooperative solutions for collective benefit of providers and users. So energy cooperatives are one of the usual suspects for such consortium, but since it's about also it's issue about the distribution, energy, electricity distribution, etc. So DSOs, distribution system operators, etc. could be kind of necessity for such topic. So in the project, in the technology and innovation side, it needs to plan. It needs to employ the plant optimization tools, advanced installation criteria, construction issues to increase the yield and thus economic performance of PV systems. It needs to show the collective self-consumption schemes, integration with storage, interaction with the electricity mobility, and interaction with the electrical grid to provide power flexibility. It needs to also employ effective protocols and robust communication and cooperation between the various required levels of the control, that is cybersecurity, offering the benefits, advanced smart power electronics, sensors, and intelligent systems. Expected outcome is the increase of the profitability and the penetration of the PV systems and in renewable energy communities, thus facilitate the energy transition to low carbon economy. Also is expected to engage actively citizens and communities in the clean energy transition, in particular through the uptake of the energy cooperatives and development decentralized platforms. As I said, this is the SSH side of this call topic, especially the involvement of the citizens or consumers are expected. So that's why we strongly suggest any partners, any stakeholders to involve the social scientists in the consortium, especially also energy cooperatives are necessary. As you can see, again, it's an innovation action. It's expected per project is 5 million euro. And the Commission total budget is 10 million euro. Again, 2 projects will be awarded by the Commission at the end. In the work program, you can see international cooperation with the Mediterranean region is encouraged sign. So this is the indication that the Commission would like to see Mediterranean countries in the consortium as well. So here Turkey is a partner, but especially if you can involve a partner from the sub-Saharan, the northern part of the Africa, or all other part of the Mediterranean region, that could be a strong point for the consortium. So the last topic for the upcoming call period, it's about the actually resource efficiency of the PV. So photovoltaic, I mean. The proposals need to identify the main areas of the improvement for the environmental footprint, resource efficiency of PV, considering the technology entire life cycle. It needs to identify key candidates to reduce resources and critical materials from design phase without adversely affecting the function of the technology. It needs to propose how systems and the system components can be designed in a way to encourage to reuse, recycling based on the circular economy approaches. The project needs to reduce the environmental footprint associated with the PV technology deployment across all the phases of the system lifetime: production, transport, installation, and end life. It needs to define design and processing guidelines to optimally address the circularity of the PV system for one or several PV technologies. That could be silicon, thin film, organic PV, perovskite PV technologies, etc. As you can see, this is actually CSA project. Why is a CSA project? You can see actually the Commission expect to the consortium give a roadmap for the Europe for the reuse or the circularity of the PV technologies. It doesn't expect any research or innovation development. So that's why it's a coordination and support action, which means that the consortium do not need to conduct a research or application of the innovation, but it expects the manuals or roadmaps, etc., as a kind of soft project. So that's why the only one proposal will be awarded, and it's a 3 million euro. Let me go to the. So that's the all Horizon Europe call topics for the solar areas for the 4th of February deadline. Now I am moving to the other possibility areas where you can find the solar topics, which is relevant for the Horizon Europe. Clean Energy Transition Partnership is an initiative under the Horizon Europe. It's involving the national and the regional research and development innovation programs. Actually, what I can say that until now, those topics, 4 topics, are funded by the European Commission directly, and you apply to do funding and tender. Your only responsible body is the European Commission. But here, European Commission is saying that I want to see more involving. I want to increase the budget of the specific domains. So that's why it's inviting the national funding agencies, such as TÜBİTAK, to put additional money to support more projects with the cooperation. European Commission is saying that I will give the 30% of this money to the consortiums, and the funding agencies should support their responsible stakeholders. Here, it's an international evaluation process, national funding mechanisms. So this is the difference of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. It's again the Horizon Europe program, but it's a different mechanism is going on behind of it. So that's why CTP is a energy thematic. The CTP is about that. Beforehand, 2020, there was different ARENET programs, solar ARENET, CSP ARENET, wind ARENET. Those are the things I remember from the past, energy system ARENET, etc. The Commission said that let's put all those ARENETs into the one program partnership and support them with the different mechanisms. So then this is a kind of one single market stop shop for the researchers to find the relevant call topics. So this is the CTP actually. I hope I could explain very briefly. It's very complicated because CTP, Horizon Europe, and there are very different programs, and sometimes it's very confusing for the researchers and stakeholders. That's why we are trying to help our stakeholders to find the most eligible or applicable call topics for them. So CTP is again, supports the implementation of the set plan. I mentioned it just 5 minutes ago. It aims to, achieve the objectives of the repower of EU plan as well. As I said, that Green Deal aims to see the European Union becomes the carbon-free continent. So those are the programs, sub-programs to support the EU policy again. So CTP leverages existing of the set plan initiatives, etc., by receiving additional money from the regional and national funding agencies. Let me go to the C. So the Clean Energy Transition Partnership actually opened the call in September, and actually the deadline is passed. But every year, for example, 2025, there will be another call for the September one. And you can see lots more than 30 countries with the 20 plus is EU member states, 10 plus associated countries, 47 funding agencies involved to support applications. So call 2021 has allocated 130 million euro, and the call was closed in 21st of November. Now the first eligibility checks are conducted by the national funding agencies. But what I am trying to say that Horizon Europe is not only option for you. If you find the difficulties to cooperate with the, for these specific calls, because Horizon Europe call topics are kind of, I'm going to use the football term, Champions League. So it's very competitive. For as I show you that only 2 proposals awarded, and you will see that 40 or 50 proposals sometimes are applied, and you are just competing with those proposals. Here under the CTP, the competition is lesser, because it's a kind of national funding agencies giving specific amount of funds. So that's why it's a way to cooperate as an alternative. So let me tell you that you can see that this is the amount of money every year the funding agencies are dedicatedly giving. From Turkey, TÜBİTAK is the funding agency, and we are giving the support with the 1071 program, 1071 programı UPAK tarafından verilen. I am just explaining in Turkish to make you familiar about that. So you can apply to the TÜBİTAK to get the support, but it's again international consortium. So you apply for the international call, you expect the evaluation from the international agencies and international panel, but the money comes from the TÜBİTAK. This is the way. TÜBİTAK is not making the technical evaluation. It's only making the evaluation for the budget requirements. Sometimes, the TÜBİTAK is giving the budget limitation per project 200,000 euro, for example, in the last call. So if the partner asks 400,000 euro, so we just reduce the budget. So this is the evaluation phase of the TÜBİTAK under such topics. So as I said, in 2025, there will be another call, and the solar energy is supported as well. You can see 7 TRI modules. It means that 7 call areas. For example, one is about the energy system calls, about the integration of the energy system. The second one is about to enhance the zero emission for the power technologies. The third one for the carbon capture storage, hydrogen domain. The fourth one mostly is about the heating and cooling technologies and geothermal, for example. The fifth one is a regional energy cooperation. Sixth one is for the industrial application for the energy usage. The seventh one, integration in the built environment. So you can find the solar domain topics, or you can apply for solar area research for mostly TRI2. But again, you can apply for the TRI7. For example, you can show the building PV systems under the TRI7. So just try to read the details of the call topics for this one. As I can see, there are different call modules. It tries to cover as much as all the renewable energy domain and applications. So those are the details from the CTP website. You can see it. So we are very happy to give you an opportunity, novel opportunity, LAPSE. It's a long-term African Union, European Union partnership on sustainable energy. This is a continuation of the LAPRE. Unfortunately, TÜBİTAK didn't involve in the LAPRE in Horizon 2020. But with this new term, LAPSE project, we are happy to inform you that you will be able to cooperate with the African countries via the LAPSE program. TÜBİTAK involved again with the 1071 program. This is a program actually cooperation between the Africa and Europe on the area of the energy climate change. So you can see different countries: Cameroon, Senegal, South Africa, Namibia, Algeria, Turkey, and EU countries. So this is an opportunity. LAPSE initiative is a funding, again, it's a kind of ERANET, similar to the CTP. It has a total budget for 30 million euro, and the Commission is giving the top up, one third funded by the European Commission, and national funding agencies are again giving the dedicated budget for each call. So objective is the highlights a shared commitment tackling climate change, improving the energy access with equitable benefits for both Africa and Europe. As you can see, the objectives are very relevant for the solar domain applications, but it's very specific to needs of the Africa. When you prepare a proposal, please consider that this is the project for the need of the African continent, actually, in the end. So that's why you can see different topics, innovative solutions for priority domestic uses, such as cooking, cold chain. Because, normally in Europe, you can't see this topic because this is not necessity now and the need of the European continent. But this is a need for the African continent, for example. So most of the African, the population, I don't know the exact number of the people, but they are living in a decentralized areas. So there is no energy system, connection. They don't have the electricity, heating technologies. So that's why the proposals needs to show that decentralized applications, for example, using the PV with the decentralized application. This is the only thing, one thing I am thinking about, or one area, or solar thermal applications. So this is a very good opportunity because African continent is one of the priority continent of the Turkish Republic as well. So you can see this is a very draft. Still the call didn't publish, but they expected to launch the first call in January 2025. And the pre-proposal deadline will be March 2025. So please be aware. We will share all the detailed information about the LAPSE as soon as possible when the call publish it. So this is a good opportunity. As TÜBİTAK, we will give the support for Turkish stakeholders. Again, you will see the details. So for the all energy domain topics for Horizon Europe, CTP, LAPSE, or other topics, under the cluster 5, you can contact with Professor Dr. Hanife Tuzcuoğlu and with myself. So we are very happy to help you all the time. Those are the useful links for Horizon Europe, GreenNet, NCP projects, etc., LAPSE, Clean Energy Transition Partnership. You can find this information, all the details from these links. So thank you very much for the attention. For generic questions, you can contact with the ufukavrupa.tubitak.gov.tr. Thank you very much. If you have a specific questions, please do not hesitate to contact with us now, or you can contact with us by email. So thank you again.
Thank you, Çağrı Bey. All participants can use Q&A button for their questions, but apparently I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay, everything then is clear. Please, just digest all those information. We know that this is a very broad area and we give lots of information. So if you have a question later on, please do not hesitate to contact with us. As I said, by email or with all channels. So we are a very, very, open division under the TÜBİTAK. All the contact points are listed under the Ufuk Avrupa website. So please do not hesitate to contact with us. Thank you very much for your listening. So I know that this is a lunch time for Turkish participants. I don't want to take more time from all the participants. Thank you.